RealWear device. I'm wearing it on my head right now. I forgot my phone, but I'm just going to start with just a little brief overview here. So the phone that you have sitting in front of you in your hand, that's a computer in your hand. This is a computer on your head, okay? Computer on your hand, computer on your head. There's two major differences with this. One, you wear it instead of hold it. And two, you talk to it instead of tap it. It's that simple. Okay, I'm going to take this off because I'm not in an industrial setting right now. So I spent the last 36 hours on 5 planes and took a red-eye to get here. So I'm a little rough around the edges right now. And our head of marketing sent me a nice deck that he spent a lot of time on. It's about 130 megabytes. And couldn't get it downloaded off my laptop in time. But one slide that I added was this picture here. And I'm going to use that picture as context for what I'm going to talk about today. And if you come away with this with one keyword, I want that keyword to be bridges. Okay? So bridges. So the first thing I want to talk about is sort of what you've heard about augmented reality in the past. And I put this in sort of 3 layers. There's this cloudy layer at the top, which I'll just call blogosphere. This really cool, sexy new tech that everybody gets excited about, and we talk about on TechCrunch and Hacker News, and look at the possibilities, and isn't this great? Okay, that's clouds, right? That's fog. Then you go down a level, right? Down a level from that, and you talk about something a little bit different. Maybe you've built some prototypes, there's some demos, maybe some working hardware, some working software, and you maybe test those out in the field once or twice, you show it to some people, oh, this is cool, this has potential. Okay, that's sort of tier 2. The bottom level, which is something that's actually tangible, that you can pick up and use, that's rolling off production lines in thousands of quantities, people are using in everyday situations on their job. That's where we are today with this, okay? We're not in the clouds, we're not somewhere in between, we've actually built a bridge to go from a computer in your hand to a computer that you wear on your head, and something that works. You can talk to it in noisy environments, and it works. Okay, so we've got that context out of the way. Let's talk about 3 different market areas. And so I think it's very necessary that we separate these. So there's consumer, there's enterprise, and then there's industrial, okay? So consumer, you've probably heard a lot about, the big one, couple $2 billion raised, Magic Leap. We're probably 2 years away from the bridge, right? We're somewhere in between the clouds and people like building the bridge, right? Consumer, we're a couple years away. Nothing's rolling off production lines today ready to go. Immersive AR, that whole thing. Enterprise. There's some glasses out there right now that's being used, right? Like they showed a picture of the HoloLens. So that's a developer edition. That's very, very immersive, right? So you have something covering your face all the time. In an industrial setting, which is the third piece I'll talk about, I'm climbing a pole on a cellular tower. I'm climbing, say, a wind turbine. I'm laying fiber in a ditch. I'm on an offshore oil rig or FPSO. I have oil all around me and I'm wearing protective gloves. I don't have the capability to have wires. I need something that's rugged and works outdoors. I need something that's dust-proof. I need something that's drop-proof. I need something that works all day with battery life. I need software solutions that work on it. Okay, that's a bridge. That's where we are today. Okay, so I'm going to skip forward here because I think, and then I'm going to talk about the answer, right? Like where are we headed? What's the answer? What are the business models? What are the KPIs we're using? How do we sell this thing? Do we talk about AR? Do we talk about software? Do we talk about hardware? Talking to global channels about this stuff, and the one thing that I tell people is if we're talking about AR, we're probably failing at some point. Digital transformation is this big, heady term. It's this cloud term again, right, that everybody's trying to move towards. And what they need is some kind of bridge, again, to get there. So the bridge is I'm wearing a device, I'm in the field, but why am I wearing that device? If we reframe the conversation, to the sales team that's never sold software before, and we start talking about a customer service department, for instance. I have a machine that's broken. I walk up to a machine. I don't know how to fix it. I'm new. It's something I've never seen before. It's a situation I haven't seen before. Every second of downtime is costing me money, especially on an oil rig, $50,000, $100,000, $250,000 an hour. The price of any of this or the solutions doesn't matter. But talking to people, how do we get this in the field? What's the use case here? Well, it's customer service, right? So how many times have you picked up the phone and said, hey, I need some help with something? My computer's broken, my laptop's broken. Well, now my oil rig's broken. Okay, and instead of a phone call, now I've got a video call. That's all this is. I'm just doing a two-way video call with a computer on my head, with a viewfinder, with 4 microphones in a loud, noisy, rugged environment. Okay? So talk about it in terms of customer service. So I'm just going to touch for a second on the business model, and then we'll get back to the bridge that I'm talking about. So as we talk about these things, a lot of the companies are shifting digital transformation. We're talking about SaaS models, right? I need to sell software as a service. This is what I'm reporting on Wall Street. How do I do this in this new industrial augmented reality? Well, it's basically software as a service. It's a monthly recurring revenue. So why don't you put everything in terms of this dollar per month per device framework? You can pay, say, $60 a month for that. We have a lease program that's set up. We can do that for you today. Okay? Now add on a software solution on top of that. And maybe that's just a two-way video call. And maybe it's as simple as FaceTime. Okay? $20 a month. Okay, now let's say you're on an oil rig, for instance. And we have a very specific requirement, which is I'm out in the middle of the ocean. I don't have a lot of cellular connectivity. I'm not on land. There's not like cellular towers in the middle of the ocean. So connectivity is this really big deal across all of these situations. And so I only have this much bandwidth to work with on an oil rig. Remember, downtime, 250 grand an hour. Okay, so mission critical systems take up this much bandwidth. I only have this much left for that industrial worker to use to have a two-way video call for customer service and support. So a high-end video solution would let you very precisely manage that bandwidth. Okay, and so maybe I'm willing to pay $40 or $80 a month for that. Okay, that's use case number 1. Now let's shift to use case number 2. I'm having a video call. I need maybe a schematic or a document. It's a PDF, right? Part of the problem that you see up in the cloudy area here is that I need to transition 30,000 PDFs locked in our box, our Dropbox, our storage center. I need to convert 30,000 PDFs into immersive augmented reality solutions. How many people here are going to spend or take the time to convert 30,000 PDFs into immersive AR? And do you really need that? Or do you need to just zoom into a document? My programs, my documents, open document 3, zoom level 3, freeze document, I'm done. And that's all you say to this thing. Okay, that's use case number 2. Use case number 3, workflow. I'm just out of school. I show up to a machine. I have no idea what the heck I'm doing. And hey, I'm a millennial. Shout out. And and I don't know what I'm doing, so I just need instructions. I need the software to tell me step 1, step 2, step 3. I need to log a ticket or something. Maybe I'm willing to pay another $40 a month for that. Okay? Then the last but not least, you've got IoT visualization. You've got gauges, you've got charts, you've got graphs, you've got sensors on equipment. It's doing fancy AI predictive maintenance and downtime, and it's sending an alert to this guy or gal, and they walk up to the machine and they say, okay, now I know what I need to do. So you add all those things up. That's your business model. You have $1 per month for the hardware. You've got $1 per month for software and warranty and support, and then you've got low-end video, high-end video, workflow, IoT visualization, docs, and all of a sudden what you're able to do is you're able to report to Wall Street, for every industrial worker right now, my software that I'm building is being charged to the end customer $200 per user per month. And now I have 30 of these workers using it, right? So if I have 30 workers, now I have a connected plant strategy. okay? So ultimately, let's get down to the KPI. So how do I measure the KPI for this sort of augmented reality industrial worker being deployed in the field right now? It's very simple. How many hours a day are you wearing this thing on your job? How many hours a day do all of us white-collar workers spend in front of a computer? 8, 12, 15. So your engagement's off the charts with your computer. Blue-collar workers, they don't even have a computer on their head where they can listen to music while they work. They have zero luxuries, nothing. Like, how are you going to climb a wind turbine that takes 45 minutes for you to get up there? Hand, one hand for me. I mean, like, you're not going to be carrying around an iPad on an oil rig covered in oil. Like, it's untenable. It's just not going to happen. So you need a computer that can do these things. Okay, so then you can get into the whole conversation about knowledge transfer and baby boomers retiring out. It's actually clicked into place for me. About a month ago, my dad was talking about retiring, and he said, I don't want to go from working full-time to not working at all. So I kind of want this, like, sort of leveling off, right? So you think back to this customer service conversation. So now all of a sudden, if I have an expert sitting at home in his home office and can say, I want to work, between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. every day, and I'm available to help, the new kids figure out what to do, then all of a sudden I have a very expert-focused workforce on the other end of that phone call, adding value to the people wearing this in the field. So I think that's really important. So as you think about, say, your software strategy for one of these things, I would say today where we are is much like when the iPhone announced their App Store in 08, 09, it's about 10 years ago. And you noticed some of these developers that put out a really weird little app, some kind of crap game, to be honest, or solitaire, and they became millionaires overnight. So the software right now that's on these things does basic things, but does it very well. And so the basic things I'm talking about is take a picture, record a video, capture a note, fill in this form field, check this box, read this gauge. So the infrastructure behind that, sure, in some cases like that can be hard to do. And video streaming, like, that's not an easy thing to do. But as you take a step back here, the opportunity in the marketplace for us to develop new software to get these industrial workers using a computer on their head their entire workday is kind of off the chart. So it's only up and to the right. So last, I don't know what my time is right now, but I'll give a couple use cases from Fortune 50 companies that we're actually in deployments right now. So we're back to the bridge, right? We're having IT conversations. So one of them is one of the world's largest retailers, and they have a distribution center. And they want to use just this remote mentor concept, which is I just want a video call because my line went down, essentially. My conveyor belt is down. So I need to place a phone call to customer support for the manufacturer of this conveyor belt to help me fix it. Like, that's literally what we're talking about. So you want to know what one of the biggest blockers was that we had with our deployment team? It was, when you went to the hotel last night or a couple days ago and you try to log into Wi-Fi and up pops a little action sheet and you have to, like, put in your room number or click a checkbox. So this is actually what was happening behind the scenes. So we just connect to Wi-Fi or Bluetooth just like you would on your desktop or on your phone or your tablet. And behind the scenes, there was this little action script where you had to, like, check a box before you would get connected to the internet, even though you were connected to the router, right? So it's small little things like this. And actually, if you talk to anyone in the AR industry right now that's building software, building hardware, you know what the number one problem is across the board is connectivity. My plant isn't wired up for high-speed Wi-Fi. I don't have MiFi hotspots set up. I'm out in the field. Like, how are we going to do this? Like, connectivity. We're in 2018. I can't get a signal for this thing, right? Like this. This is where we are. We're on the bridge. We've built the bridge, and we've got, like, one guy who's missing like one tiny little screw, and it's like, oh, okay, we'll check that box, and okay, I'll buy you 20 MiFis, like just relax, we're fine here. So that was a distribution center. A wind farm, we're talking to like 4 of the biggest wind farms in the world, doing, again, remote mentor use cases for them. I'll say one thing about a CPG company. So potato chips. Who doesn't love potato chips? I'm a huge fan. Shout out to potato chips. So we took this thing next to a potato slicer. If you've ever been in one of these plants, it's so loud you can't even hear yourself think. 95 to 100 decibels. If you don't know what 95 or 100 decibels is, I want you to go up to a locomotive running at full speed at arm's length and just stand there and have a conversation. That's 95 decibels. That's a potato slicer. So we took this, we put it on, we put the hearing protection in, and we did one of these video support calls, and the person on the other end of the line had no idea. It sounded this quiet. So that's noise cancellation at work, right? So we can duplicate that over and over again. So high noise environments, outdoor environments, wind, not an issue. Demoed at CES, not an issue, right? So you have to take all those things off the table before you can get to the bridge, right? Those are just table stakes. Okay, so the last one I want to talk to you about is just one of the simplest use cases. It was a chemical company. They were supposed to be here today. They're one of our customers, but they couldn't make it. Eastman Chemical, they have a blog about this, so obviously a lot of our customers are under NDA and we don't talk about it, but they've posted a blog. So essentially, they had a really big problem that they needed to fix immediately, and the only way they could do it was with a computer that you wear on your head, because you had to go into a really tight space and you had to record video, and the only thing you could do to move was kind of do this. You couldn't, there was not enough room to do this, so you just had to record video locally and do this, and it fixed the problem for them. So they're actually using this every day, just to literally walk into a small little area and do this and record video. So the thing I want you to take away here is the clouds and everything you see with people talking about the blogosphere and all this hope and the dreams, AI, self-driving, don't get me started. Is it a bridge? How do you know if it's a bridge? You know if it's a bridge because people talk about real things, right? I'm in a small space and I move my head like this. I want to have just a quick video call with somebody so I can fix something that's broken, right? I'm climbing something and I can't hold a tablet and also hang on and also fix something or I'm going to die. Like it sounds silly, but it's not silly, because that's how you know you're on a bridge and you don't have your heads in the clouds. Okay, I think that's it. I'm probably up here. Andrew, come on up. Upskill, come on up. We got one of our software partners.